Welcome to the first episode of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show on TLN. Today we have a packed episode, diving right into the NCAA selection show, the crazy PLL draft last night, an interview with the number 2 overall pick, Connor Shellenberger. And boys, guess what? We got a sponsorship for this show. The Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show is presented by SCX. Before we dive in, we got to do a couple intros. My name is Mitchell Pehlke. I just graduated from Ohio State last year. I've been playing lacrosse my whole life, creating content since 2016. We got the man himself over here, Hoagie.
What's up, guys? I'm James Hogan. I played at Ohio State with Mitch from 2019 to 2023, and I just took my 5th year this past year, played at Manhattan College.
My name is Miles Dubois. I'm a sophomore lacrosse player at Stevens Tech. I create content, make YouTube videos, and yeah.
What's up, guys? My name is Diggs. I just graduated from Dayton 4 years ago. Only kid in the world, not 2 lacrosse podcasts. Play the club, like the pub. Glad to be here.
Let's get Dayton Club Lacrosse legend. Now let's hop into the NCAA selection show. Let's hop into the NCAA selection show. We obviously saw all that madness Sunday night. Let's hop into the teams. Notre Dame versus potentially Albany or Sacred Heart at the 1 spot. Number 2, Duke versus Utah. Number 3, Hopkins versus Lehigh. Number 4, Syracuse versus Towson. Number 5, Denver versus Michigan. Number 6, UVA versus St. Joe's. 7, Maryland versus Princeton. 8, Georgetown versus Hopkins. Initial thoughts off the bat. What are we thinking?
I think the tournament, I think they got it right. I think no one got snubbed, personally. I think they got the teams right.
I want to be mad at people so bad, and I have no one to be mad about. So I'm like an old man that wants to yell at the sky. But the committee, for the first time in my years covering, which is like the past 4 or 5 years, they got it right. They nailed it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it's, with some of the hosting teams, I think could be more conversational. Yeah. But I think the actual teams in there, I think they got it right. And obviously the board up front, Maryland, Final Four, ? Maryland's hosting. What are our initial thoughts on Maryland hosting?
I can't believe they're hosting, to be completely honest.
Here's where I want to... The committee legitimately has a website where they're like, this is what we're going to base our criteria off of, and they based it off that criteria. Yeah. Maryland doesn't have any bad losses.
Yeah, they don't.
No.
And who's going to host instead of them?
Exactly.
I think the point that a lot of people make is Maryland's 8-5, so they have the least wins in the field. They have a great schedule, which Tills plays the elite schedule every year, so you can't knock them. And Maryland's always good, so they're always there. I honestly think, though, at this point, like, Princeton or Michigan, they're both hot. They just won their conference championships. I think one of those teams deserves to host a first-round game over a Georgetown, over a Maryland.
Yeah. See, I disagree with that because it's like your resume is not based off just May. And like it's not based on hotness. It's a full body of work. It's what you put in February. It's what you put in March. So Michigan did not.
But 2022, you said Notre Dame should have got in. They were hot going into selection show, and they didn't get it.
Fair, but their RPI was also 7th, and Duke's was 8th. So when you're looking at the RPI,
but
they should have gotten in.
How much should the RPI play, though? Because I feel like the RPI is the biggest factor at determining a lot of these teams.
I mean, essentially, the selection show is it's a math equation, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
With how hard these teams play in the RPI ranking.
Well, if you're going to talk about the eye test, all the Ivy Leagues passed the eye test. I think all of us could sit here and be like, we could see Penn making one run. We could see Cornell making one run.
Who's our initial thoughts that, got snubbed in our opinion?
I think if you're going to talk about one team who should have been in or could have went in, I think it's got to be Cornell, the 3, and make a run.
Yeah.
They took Notre Dame to the wire. They beat Syracuse. And they're a team that if you watched Cornell all year, they would get down in so many games and claw their way back.
Yeah.
They're gritty. CJ Kurz, they were down 7-0 to Syracuse and came back in that game.
Yeah.
I think if any of the teams who, quote-unquote, got snubbed or were just left out, Cornell, to me, was the one who could have made a run.
The first 3 out, Cornell, Yale, Penn. 3 Ivies off the bat. I don't think any other squad really has that debate, but I'm right there with you, V. I think Cornell, I don't necessarily know if they should have been in the tournament, but they're definitely the first ones out.
Yeah, I don't even know what the committee's first team out was, but the team that Dukes' first team out, Dukes' team that he wanted in the tournament, easily CJ Kurz and Cornell. I thought CJ Kurz was right there in the Tewaaraton race. Yeah. And then that just killed Kurz Tewaaraton race, killed Brandau's. Yeah. Stinks that we're not going to be able to see them play in the tournament, but look, we couldn't watch Pat Cav in 2022. This was justice for the 2022.
Justice for the Irish.
ACC.
I like that. And
Pretty
again,
boys.
Let's circle back on that Towson-Cuse game. Again, I'm real long on Towson. The CAA boys, the boys at Backyard, post-CAA championship, throwing a couple back. I see Towson winning that game.
I think they got a chance. That's the last
Miles
game.
doesn't
That's
like
the
that
Sunday last game. I honestly think
the D3 legend.
What
do you think?
I think that they could genuinely win. Syracuse, they're having a great year. The 4 seed. Is Syracuse a little high? I don't know. I think Towson might have a shot.
Syracuse hasn't won an NCAA tournament game since 2017.
Wow. They just have no
Because they're
experience
back.
there, yeah.
You have to get back in the tournament to
But
start
to
your
say
back.
they're back,
So I think they're fully again. It comes down to this: with people are like, is Syracuse too high? Who do you put in instead of them? It's not like
Yes,
Denver's better
yes.
than them.
Yeah.
They're probably
Yeah.
just perfectly seated, but in your head you're like, they're not. You don't think
I
they're
think
that
they're
good.
in, but I don't know if they're 4.
They are 3 goals away from being like talked about as like one of the best teams in the country. They have
and they
3
were overtime losses. They
Three,
were
over,
overtime losses.
3 overtime losses. So I think that Syracuse is very good. But here's the thing with I stand with Syracuse. Young team hasn't played in the tournament before.
Yeah.
This is a life lesson to all the youngsters out there. Never fight someone that has nothing to lose, and Towson has nothing to lose. I think they're going to come in like chippy. I think they're, like I said, gritty.
Garden City gritty.
Yeah, Garden
Dukes,
City.
2-0. Don't forget
And
it.
They call it GCG, Garden City Grit.
And we mentioned this last week.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Mitch, we mentioned this last week also on our own experience. The quarterfinals are at Johnny Unitas. And
Yeah,
Ag,
dude,
dude.
I
Come
love
on.
Hoagie. I love Hoagie's like he's always
on.
He's
looking
the
ahead.
stat rat. I love that.
He's always
I mean,
looking
I
ahead.
see this right now. Towson beating Cuse, quarterfinal game at Johnny Unitas in Baltimore, Maryland. Johnny Unitas is sold out. Towson wins it, going to the Final Four.
It is cool though, but that side of the bracket, it's like Towson could make the Final Four, Syracuse could make the Final Four,
Yeah.
be back, Michigan could, which would be awesome, or Denver would be back in
You're
Matt
talking-
Brown's first year. That side of the bracket is awesome.
Denver coming all the way out to Johnny Unitas. Come on now. You got to roll with the Tigers in the
Come
backyard.
on, you
boys
got to
there.
roll with the
Come on.
Tigers. Pelkey might even be there. Pelkey might even show up and show out for the Tigers. I'm a big fan. I'm long on them. And also, that Maryland-Princeton game is not going to be no walk in the park.
I love Princeton.
Really?
I love them.
The Ridgewood vet. Why is that?
Because the midfield that they have, they're dodging. But the only issue that I have with them is that they're so young.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I mean?
They are
Like
really young.
the attack, they have like Burnsy, Kabiri, and then obviously Mackesy. Is he going to be able to make a playoff run here? I hope so, because they're a really fun team to watch. And
you know, 2 teams you never count out in May is in my opinion, Duke and Maryland.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland and May is lethal.
I know everyone's on the Maryland should not be hosting. Maryland should not this, that. I'll tell you what, Maryland, I know they lost last year in the first round of Army, but that was like a blue moon year. They usually always make the Final Four. I don't know if I can go against Tills, a night game at home.
Yeah.
And I think the one spark that no one's talking about of what kind of started this Princeton run was Andrew McMeekin at the face-off X has been going completely
disgusting,
off. Who is they going against? They haven't played a team who's had a face-off guy like Luke Weirman against. That could be the difference in the middle of the field there. If Weirman can neutralize them or take the advantage there, it might swing the other way.
Completely agree. I think Maryland wins this one, actually. I think they're going to send a big FU to everyone. It's like, we shouldn't be hosting. Yeah. It's Maryland. If the expectations for Maryland wasn't championship or bust, everyone would be like, yeah, there should be a 7. But since it's Maryland and they're used to like 2 losses, it's like, overrated. Like Michigan has like the same record, like their RPI like 11. Everyone's like, let them host. It's like, there's levels.
Yeah,
there's levels. Michigan, it's like they have 6 losses. It's like, well, let them host a game. Maryland has 5. It's like, whew, they stink.
And that is the big thing with Tills, which I love. If you look at their schedule, they don't play Detroit Mercy. They don't play Lindenwood.
No shame
to those teams.
Why the Lindenwood hate, dog? Their season just, I mean, come on.
It's that Lindenwood
Their
hate.
season,
R.I.P. R.I.P.
It's not hate. It's not hate. It just came up. But I'm saying, like, you look at their schedule, every single game is legit. They don't play a ton of them. That's why their record is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Maryland, too. I'm with Dukes here.
Yeah.
I think Princeton's so hot that they're got to cool down. But Dubes, we'll see next week. We'll see.
Miles got
Princeton,
Princeton.
baby.
The rest of the
Let's
boys
go.
got Maryland.
He's just
Into
got
the next game, though.
no, he's got one of his boys on Princeton.
Dumpy.
That's why he's
Shout out
biased.
Dumpy.
Yeah, another Ridgewood squid, as we like to say. Georgetown versus Princeton. Who do we like?
Penn State.
Penn State.
I think
Georgetown versus Penn State.
Oh yeah, Georgetown versus Penn State. Who do we like though? I like Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah.
I like Penn State.
I think
Penn
they look
State
good.
all day.
Penn State.
I just can't have Georgetown. Even if I wanted Georgetown, I can't have Georgetown.
So what is Duke's going to do in 2 weeks when Georgetown wins the first game and then beats Notre Dame and then goes to championship weekend?
For all the people that listened to the Crease Dive at the beginning of the year, I said if Georgetown makes the Final Four, I will shave my head.
Yes.
And
Pelkey's gonna shave it.
Yeah, I will do it. We can do it live on here, but it's unbelievable that if they beat my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I would be done.
Hey, we never know. We never know. Pelkey's got the Manscaped in his bag right now. We could get it rolling.
Yeah.
And we were real pumped on St. Joe's earlier in the episode. They're playing UVA. Is there any doubt with the Wahoos?
Don't count him out.
Really?
Don't count him out.
Really?
But talking to Shelly, he's locked in.
Oh, I mean, the guy's the most dialed human being I think I've ever met in my entire life.
What about Lehigh? Do you think they have any chance? Hopkins has scored 7 goals back-to-back
I think
games.
that's going to be a closer game than we're
That's like
expecting.
no one's talking about that. That's like a sneak game.
Lehigh can slow things down. They can muck it up. I like Scott Cole. We could talk about him later with the PLL draft and PLL, but I think Scott Cole's one of the better players in the country. But let me just go back to St. Joe's really quick. I think everyone looking at St. Joe's right now, they're on a little bit of a run. Started at 0-3, haven't lost since then. But guys, we're talking about like Virginia here. There's, again, I keep saying this because there's levels to this.
Yeah.
And just because Virginia loses to like Notre Dame and Duke doesn't mean that Virginia is dead. They don't lose to worse teams. Yeah. And like just when you look at the talent and you look at the roster, St. Joe's is a worse team. So I think Virginia's going to blow them out.
We all said last week we all loved UVA to win the ACC championship, and now all of a sudden a week later, because they lost at Notre Dame, we're going to be like, they're losing to St. Joe's.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah,
no way.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then that's I don't think I call it a sleeper game, but just the Duke-Utah game. I think I think
that's
Notre Dame,
a bloodbath. That's a
think so,
bloodbath.
too.
You think so?
That's a bloodbath.
It's like taking out like the cow. It's like you're getting some steak.
You're
Like
getting-
it's
you're
absolute
getting
slaughterhouse.
Yeah. I think the Notre Dame Duke those games are not even questions. But the rest of those those other 5 I truly think those are going to be all good games.
Could we touch on Denver, Michigan?
Yeah.
Because I think Michigan's winning that one.
Going out,
I might have missed
I
that
like
one.
Denver. Not even on a like Ohio State fan wave. It's more just like I think going out to the mountains. They got to go out to Colorado. Denver
Playing in the altitude, I will say from personal experience, that was the hardest game I've ever played in my entire life.
You would
running
come
in
off-
the altitude, I thought I was going to throw up on the sidelines.
and your mouth. I remember I would come off the field like huffing and puffing, and my mouth was so dry.
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
air. I honestly think, and people are underestimating Denver. I feel like their resume, they've been legit all year.
Yeah.
Matt Brown's doing a great job. I think Michigan's I don't want to say a victim of a moment and they could win, but I feel like it's kind of like Princeton. They're hot. How hot are they going to be next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like this Michigan team. I like them coming into the year. I think they've kind of figured things out at the X. Like Michael Boehm, I think is fantastic.
he's
Justin
disgusting.
Tiernan, the transfer from Lehigh.
There's
I
no
think-
lie, they have the talent for sure.
Great
Yeah.
face-off matchup
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Sitakis
Yeah,
and we felt that's
Yeah.
a legit matchup.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I really like Michigan in this one.
I like
and
Michigan too.
We'll get there, but
Denver
first Final Four ever
Denver in the Big East.
in the
just doesn't
first
help
season
them.
of the Mitchell
Yeah.
Pehlke Show.
I do think
fate.
Dude,
I do
Duke
think-
wants it to happen.
No, I do think the Denver Michigan winner makes championship weekend though. I think they
You
win.
think so?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think
so.
I think they make.
Well, I think the cool part about this is we're going to do a bracket at the end of this episode where you guys can get involved and win a bundle of gear. Stay tuned for that. But let's go to a little D3 roundup from the D3 legend,
Let's do
Miles
it.
Dubois.
Yeah, so we're just gonna go over some of the notable games because there's some dusters in D3. So we're gonna just go over the ones that you guys would probably know. So we're gonna start top left of the bracket. We got a 19-0 Salisbury team again with the 1 seed. They won their conference and they're gonna end up playing probably the winner of Lynchburg versus Washington and Lee in the Elite 8. Salisbury looking for their 14th national championship. They're going to be scary.
They're scary. When I was at Salisbury this fall making a video, I met with Coach Berkman. He told me the wildest stat in lacrosse history, I truly feel like, from 1985 to 2023, if you were part of the Salisbury lacrosse team for all of your years of eligibility, you won a national championship.
That's crazy. You're literally guaranteeing a ring.
You're literally guaranteed a ring.
Yeah.
So,
And then-
Salisbury, I think they can run it back.
Yeah, I think so too. And then top right of the bracket, we're looking at RPI hosting Bowdoin in the Sweet 16. These are all potential games. They're playing duster teams, and then I'm saying Sweet 16. So then we got the Centennial Conference winners again, 3rd time in a row. Dickinson, they're gonna host Middlebury in the Sweet 16.
Yep.
Now we're gonna go bottom left of the bracket. Hungry Tufts team, they lost in the quarterfinals to Hamilton.
Really?
They're on a 2-week break right now. They got an at-large bid. They're going to be playing the winner of Union versus Stevenson in the Sweet 16. I think Tufts, you guys know Tufts. They're a blue blood.
They are a blue blood.
They're looking to go far. And then we got the Wesley and Nescac champs. They're hosting St. Lawrence in the Sweet 16. And then now we're going to go to the bottom right. This is where the Stevens Ducks are.
Uh-oh, the Ducks. Where
But-
the Ducks get ranked?
We got like a AQ. We don't have like seedings. I don't think it's just like host teams and stuff.
Okay.
So we're not hosting.
Who are we playing?
We're gonna play Roanoke on Saturday.
The Virginia boys.
Yeah,
Watch out now.
Yeah, we're going to CNU though. So CNU is gonna host Cabrini.
Okay.
In their last game ever. What do you think about Cabrini? Do you think Cabrini is gonna beat CNU? We're hoping so.
Look,
We
My
might need
boy.
to call in Nesty.
yeah, we might need to call in Nest. I know he's going to be emotional for the last game ever, but he also has a crazy stat. I don't think Cabrini lost a conference game in 26 years.
Wow.
That's crazy.
They
Yeah,
also
no,
play
but
like
it's
St.
such
Mary's
a
School
lock,
of Bond.
though.
Like,
Yeah, it's such a lock.
They're playing the Garden City gritty
No,
high school team.
They're playing like legitimately like the JVB team.
They're playing
Yeah.
Riverside High
They
School.
play like St. Mary's, like
Yeah,
that level team.
And that's no shot, but like yeah, like,
No, they're
that
a
was a
lock
shot.
to win it every
that was a
year.
Barstool jab.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a dead eye. But I'm rooting for Cabrini. I'm pulling for them. I like the story. They're going to need to say a couple of prayers, though, if they want to beat Christopher
Yeah.
Newport. I think Christopher Newport, actually, from what I've seen, they have some players that can play in the PLL.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're excited. We're 17-2 right now. You know, we're extremely excited to go to Virginia on Thursday and play Roanoke on Saturday night, 7 p.m. and then potentially CNU 7 p.m. on Sunday. So
Wow, folks.
we're juiced up, and that's pretty much it for the D3 games. I'm excited to see who's gonna win it, but I know you guys are rooting for Stevens,
we
right?
get the
Yeah,
Stevens Ducks to be
can we get the
playing on that
Stevens
Sunday
Ducks?
championship
come on.
weekend?
Root
How
for the
cool would that
Ducks.
be?
We got number 91 sitting front row here, the last active player left.
Yeah.
Stevens Ducks to the moon. That wraps up D3 play. Let's hop right in to last night, the PLL draft. You know, this was one of the craziest drafts yet in the league. And I'll let Dukes, you take the host here.
yeah, so last night we finally saw the Shelly Brennan O'Neill debate, right?
Yeah.
Who's going number one? It's
Which
been going
is
on
crazy.
since 2021.
Yeah.
Finally got decided last night.
I was right.
Brennan O'Neill went number one. I want to ask you guys really quick, was that the right choice by the Outlaws?
I think it's a no-brainer in the aspect of, like, you can't go wrong with generational talent. You know, my first thought goes to they got Wisnauskas on the left, and obviously O'Neill's a lefty. Like, is there going to be too much power there? That's why I was kind of being like, hey, I think Shelly's going to go one. But that was kind of my thought process.
Yeah, I think it's when you look at Brennan O'Neill, this kid is literally the biggest lacrosse prodigy I think we've ever had in the sport from like a young age. And I think he was a guy that, like, fit or not, like, you have to draft this guy number one because this guy could be the face of the league for the next decade and a half. And you do not want to be that coach who passed on Brennan O'Neill and was known as the guy who didn't do it. So I think Sudan was like, you know what? At the end of the day, Shellenberger might have been the better piece, the better fit. And Schellenberger's going to be an all-pro, all-world guy, too.
I mean, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong
Shelly
with either.
or O'Neill. Like,
I just think the Brennan, he was the prodigy. He's been a stud. Seeing what he did this summer. I also think in the PLL, it's big to be able to play both positions, midfield and attack.
Yeah.
And he shined playing midfield this summer with USA. I think it was just Sudan had to make the pick, and that's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't see the big three go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like, that's a strategic play. And I feel like there might be,
yeah.
like, a Matt Cav, you know, calling Holman being like, yo, like, if he's there, we're picking him and we're rolling. I mean, Matt Cav, Pat Cav, Holman, Nolte. I mean, like, I don't want to say early, but, like, Cannon's to raise one at the end of the PLL season.
Yeah.
They could.
I mean, just going through like the round one results, Outlaws got Brennan, Atlas got Shelly, Whips got Zappatello from Maryland, Chaos got Noblock, then Entenmann to the Atlas, Cav to the Cannons, Brandau to the Water Dogs. Woodward, first LSM taken off the board, to the Archers. I mean, when I'm looking at this overall in the first round, not really any surprises on my end. I think some people want to be like the Pacino should have gotten drafted over Woodward.
Yeah.
I don't agree. I think Woodward, you could put
elite. He's
elite. And as a cover guy, and I think that some people don't think that's important enough in the PLL. I totally disagree. You could put him down low, put him out of the box, great in the middle. So I think Woodward was the right choice for the first LSM. Now I'm interested to see your guys' takes on. Did you guys think Woodward should have been the first poll taken off the board? Or
I
you guys
truly
Pacino
do.
guys?
I played with him back in the day. There's this guy is like attention to detail oriented, just the way he treats his body. I remember we're out in Vail going into my freshman year at Ohio State. This guy wouldn't eat French fries, pizza. He was just so dialed in on his diet, and obviously his game mimics that. And he's killed it at Marquette for the past 4 years. And I truly think with the first LSM off the board, I think that was the right pick.
Yeah, I think it was a good pick, too. But I'll open this question up. Who won the draft, in you guys' opinion? Because I know my pick.
Just looking off the
I know my
first
pick.
round, I think it's Atlas.
Yeah.
See, I think the Outlaws won the draft. personally.
Really?
Yeah, I think three teams I graded as winners, like A grade or above. I think it's the Atlas, I think it's the Water Dogs, I think it's the Outlaws. The Atlas got everything that they needed.
I think the big thing with Atlas is they got 2 cornerstone players in NT and Shelly who are going to be staples for years to come,
Yeah.
and 2 like solidified stars. Not
These
like
aren't
hoping
cats
they
working
pan out.
finance going to come in and out. Like these guys are PLL or die.
And you need an elite goalie to win championships in the PLL. Look at it. Whipstakes had Burnlord when he was at elite level play.
Yep.
The Chaos, obviously Blaze. The Water Dogs, obviously they had Dylan Ward. And then last year, Dauber came on as one of the best goalies in the league. I think Entman walks into the PLL day one. He's a top 2 goalie in the world. Bank. Like I think
I'm on that. I'm on that train.
Yeah, I think the Atlas won in terms of like needs and fits in future. I think in terms of depth, it's got to be the Outlaws. If you look at their full draft, Brendan O'Neill.
Right.
They took Jake Pacino.
Yep.
They got Graham Bundy, who's been a solid midfielder for how long. They got Zawada in a late round and Luke Weirman in a late round too. In terms of depth pieces and good players, I think the Outlaws.
I mean, those are
nailed it.
4 or 5 guys that
Right.
could be guys that are playing for the next 10 years as well.
Yeah, I think that when you look at the Atlas with I think Stevens was a round 1 pick, but when you look at the Outlaws, you got Brennan, and I'm like, what are they going to do on the left side? Exactly what you alluded to, right? And
if
it's
you're
either
a coach, what are you saying? Like, what are you doing?
Well, here's what I would do. I'd put Wisnauskas out of the box because I think here's where you need a sharpshooter unless like he could somehow like transition into like I don't know if they want to like switch up like their whole like offense. They don't go from like the X attack. But here's what I would do. I'd put Zawada at X. I'd match him up with his Duke line partner, Brendan on the left side. I'd do Wisnauskas out of the box. And I mean, I think Jake Pacino. Can I just vent about him really quick?
Yeah.
I think the people that were like, he should go top 5, you're just watching Instagram highlights.
Yeah.
He's a great
They're
transition.
watching the one clip of him taking the ball away from Shelly.
And
The over the head, yeah.
Yeah, he's a very, very good transition player, which will be elite in the PLL. He's very good in the field. He's very good off-ball intercepting passes. When you're talking about covering a guy out, like coming out of the box, bro, you're not going to be able to throw over-the-head checks. And when someone relies on that too much, especially at the pro level, like I didn't think you could do that at the American East. I don't think that really is going to translate to the pro level.
Yeah.
As a cover guy, I'm not the biggest fan, but he will be in the league for a very long time.
He's going to be great because he's going to have how many highlight reel plays on offensive in
Literally.
transition, up, down.
I
He's
can't wait to
pulling
see that
2
guy
bounds.
all over the RJ PLL vlog. I mean, that's going to be elite.
Just steer to the left.
Yeah. No, but I'm excited for him. And I think, to your point, it's going to be very interesting to see what Outlaws do with Wisnauskas and obviously O'Neal kind of having potentially similar roles. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
And getting Weirman when they got him, I think Weirman is one of those players that could just stay on the field. Like, I think it was the other week, he took a guy to X.
Yes, he did.
And you know, just having that in the PLL with the 32-second shot clock after the faceoff, I think is huge.
Yeah.
And you got Graham Bundy.
I know. He's a low-key.
See, that's why I'm saying, Dukes, the depth that they
No,
got
it's
in players
it's
is
crazy. I think the Atlas and Outlaws, I think, had the deepest drafts talent-wise. Yeah. But I can't, like, the Water Dogs, I think, also killed it.
Yeah.
I think I think Michael Bohm, for the price that you got him, Brandau is going to be someone that can step in, and you'll be like, wow, he's really good. How did he just, like, step in and be like a day one starter? You have to look at, like, the needs that they have. But now they have options between Hudgens and Brower to kind of, like, do you bump Liam Burns up to the pole?
There's so
I'm in
much
love.
you could do.
I'm
And
in
And
love
Coach Tierney
with the
said,
draft.
too, when they interviewed him on air, they were considering taking Kenny Brower at their first-round pick.
Yeah.
So they ended up getting both that they wanted. They got
Yeah.
Brandau. They were thinking about taking him at 7. They got both.
Yep.
That's a great draft.
Now,
be interesting.
we just said the best drafts. Anybody stand out having the worst draft?
Well, I don't know if
I
I'd
don't
say
know if it's the
worst
worst,
draft,
yeah.
but the Redwoods just didn't have a lot of picks. So I don't know
Yeah.
if you could say them. And they did trade back up into the last round and give
Yeah.
up their 3rd rounder for next year
Yeah.
to take Cole Caster, but he's going to play at Stanford next year.
Yeah,
so is
that pick, I was like, I don't know about that. That's like back in the day when they picked, Bernhardt when people knew he was going to go play football.
or Pat Spencer.
Yeah.
That was even like the chaos where like we have a championship level team. We're just gonna take him. Just like I feel like what if he comes back? But like the Redwoods in my eyes, okay, you got a goalie, Chase Erlin, which is like fine, but are you looking at him as a cornerstone of like who could take over the goalie rings, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. The training camp will tell. Levi Anderson, sure, if you're picturing to like put him outside the box like a Charlie Bertrand role, we'll see how that works. But then like Kastner, I love Kastner.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but are you really going to trade back in, lose your 3rd round pick next year because of the talent that Kastner has in the 4th round?
And also,
I don't
like,
know.
How dialed in is he going to be?
Right,
Like,
you're
what does
like
that even look
Taking a
like?
year off, you got a little rust there.
You're
Is that-
banking on him like being ready next training camp, like right after like a college basketball season. We'll see.
Well, I mean,
the
is he gonna
Degnon pick is good.
Is he going to go right into the league this
But
year
I
and then go
think-
to basketball, you think? Or is it the year? Is it the
No,
year
it's
after?
basketball.
Basketball, and then he'll play.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think like the last pick that they traded back in for a third rounder, like if you're gonna do it, Peyton Cormier.
I know,
did
that-
he
that's-
go
that's
undrafted?
the biggest surprise,
He's about to take.
in
He's
my
7 goals
opinion.
away from the all-time leading scorer in goals.
And no one picked him.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
that is
that's
crazy,
crazy.
to me.
Before we get into snubs, it's just I think because the Redwoods attack is the only thing that like is solidified. Basically, like you have to pull some of those guys coming out of the box. It's like too stacked. I mean, you have like Westberg, you got Ryder Garnes, you got Pinnell, you got Chris Gray. So like,
And not even a
Jules.
Redwoods factor. I just can't believe he didn't get drafted, honestly.
Yeah,
Right.
That's crazy. I mean, that really shows you how hard it is to make a PLL roster. I mean,
Yeah.
V, you said it, 22 active players on each team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, this league, there's no discount on the talent.
There's
there with
players
the
that's
guys.
getting
There's
cut
4
that are all
guys.
world
I mean,
players.
we got one that can still have eligibility, but there's 3 guys snubbed on draft night. Like they didn't want to take the club guy. They didn't want to take the Ohio State
You're still overlooked, Duke.
guy. Yeah,
I know.
Still to this day,
Yeah. I
know,
Dukes is in the
still.
player pool
How I got
for all you
drafted.
GMs out there.
How I got drafted by the PLL Bar Down Beer Garden, a thread. Let's talk about some
that.
snubs though.
Yeah.
I'd love it. Does anybody stand out to you guys personally getting snubbed? Because I know I have a list of about 10.
No, I'm just so long on the Cormier bit. It's just so surprising. A guy like that's about to have a record like that. Like, is playing at UVA, knows the game in and out, has been playing for so long. Like, I was still surprised by that. And obviously watched the end of that round and not seeing his name go up there.
That was
Big.
crazy.
I
I'll
lo-
give it to Dukes here, though, because I know what he's going to say. Dukes' boy went undrafted.
So I will-
the
I'll-
BU legend.
Yeah, I'll get into that really quick. But the Cormier kid, it stood out to me where it's like, I love the box game. I'll watch the box game, whatever. But I'm like, I'm a field guy.
Yeah.
I'm a field guy. Is Cormier almost like, I just don't even want to play the field anymore? Like, it just did not make sense to me
They
why.
might view him in that way. I don't
Right,
know.
like that's the
That
only,
might be what they thought.
That's how big of a question mark it is that he didn't get drafted. But Rory Meyer,
That's Dukes' boy.
for my money, was like the second or third best poll in this draft, and he's the one that hit the 3 blind mice after scoring.
But
I
not- but-
legitimately think that hurt his draft stock.
No.
Why not?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think you're thinking too deep.
Nope.
But you're
He's-
not putting him better than the one and only Steven Zupacic.
Yeah,
Great
Zoop.
pick.
Going to the
Steven Zoop
hey,
get drafted.
Going to my team.
The
I love that.
121 legend.
Big
also-
shout out to Steve Zoop. Played with Hoagie and I at Ohio State. Lived with them for 2 years. We call him Randall because he looks like Randall from Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
I
Quick
love
fun
that.
fact about
Big shout
Zoop,
out.
he used to burn his sausages
Every
in the house.
morning he set up the
We'd
fire
come
alarm,
back
he'd
from
burn his
practice. We'd all
sausages.
rush back. We'd at 6 a.m. practice. We'd all rush back at 8. We lived with 7 guys, and there was literally one stove. So like whoever got back was cooking
Yeah, was
breakfast
cooking
first.
sausages.
And we would come in a little late because Mitch is, does all his hair stuff. So I'm always riding the ruckus back with him late. 'cause
I got
he's-
Hoagie on the back. We're riding the
Right,
ruckus to Ohio State like
I'm
this.
holding on to his hips like Titanic style. And we come in and beep, beep, beep.
Every
the follow-up
day.
Zoop sausages are burning. Used to make the TikToks
I
on
mean,
those.
just like a heinous. Big shout out to Zoop. Ohio State, Villanova, and now Whipsnakes.
Yeah, I think just more snubs, I think. Will Mark, Syracuse goalie, I think was a
Yeah.
little bit of a surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's had-
definitely.
Yeah, I think he was a surprise. Chase Yeager was one of my favorite short stick D middies from
Yeah.
Virginia. Beast. I think he's like, these are guys that I think will come in and be like on rosters this summer. Scott Cole, I talked about at Lehigh. Great athlete. Somebody will come in. He reminds me a little bit of like a Minikis, Brian Minikis.
Yep.
I think he went to Colgate. And then Naso.
I was gonna say Jake Naso.
Jake
I think
Naso.
the ankle injury had a little maybe.
Right, I think someone like the Water Dogs could pick him up when they need like face-off needs, and,
Yeah.
and he'll be a mainstay. I don't know. What's your opinion as a face-off guy? Do you think he could stay on the field with these new shot clock rules?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's so different because we don't know where the face-off game is kind of heading here.
Yeah, I was gonna
with
lie.
like, because if you look at like the numbers and the stats, like there's teams who went like 10% face-offs last year and won the game.
Yeah.
So like, do you really need a face-off guy? But now they're taking the polls, so polls can't take face-offs anymore, which would be big. I don't know. I think it's huge, like you said before, Dukes, like a guy like Weirman who can kind of stay in there, play some hockey offense, stay on the side, create some sub-game stuff, but can also handle the ball. But I think it's more of like a need pickup player pool kind of guy. Like I think a lot of teams you're going to see, if you don't have a main guy like TD or Trevor, you're just going to roll guys in
Right.
and out by the week.
I think
and
that's the
just pick
hard
up a
part to
guy.
look at. Like, there's obviously 8 teams in the league. You literally have like, okay, who are the best 8 Fogos in the world, and that's it.
And that's
Yeah,
it.
right.
There's not a lot of room for that.
There's not a
position.
lot of
Same with the goalies.
Goalie,
It's like I've been calling people to retire for years because
Yeah.
there's so much talent coming in. But there's one last guy that I want to touch on that is maybe my favorite midfielder in the country that nobody talks about. That's Aiden Donanza. Out
Yeah.
of Duke.
I saw you said he'll be a 10-year vet. You said.
I think
Yeah.
I think he's one of those guys that like it gets kind of overlooked in this Duke offense because
There's so much
He
talent.
doesn't need to do certain things. Like I think he gets the offense going. He gets the slides drawn. He's a big, fast, downhill dodger. Has skill. Not like the most lethal shooter in the world, but he reminds me a little bit of Joe LoCascio, who played at Maryland, but a bigger version.
Yeah.
Somebody that you won't look up and be like, wow, he's killing the stats, but
Yep.
somebody that you look up and he's doing good for the offense. So I love Aiden Dananza. I think
Great
he'll
player,
be a good pickup.
even better guy. We had him at our camp this summer. Great with the kids.
He was great.
He was great with
He
the
was
kids.
the kid favorite. I think.
Yeah, he was the kid favorite.
He's like the guy that you see him, and you're like, that guy's the typical dad at the water park.
yeah, no,
you could
literally.
just tell he had that aura to
That
him. You're like,
vibe.
that's the guy. He was the dad carrying the lunch pail,
Yeah.
pushing the daughter
I
through
love that.
Disney Park.
And
Yeah.
before we wrap up the PLO draft, my question to you guys, is this the most stacked PLO draft since the debut of the league?
I think it's stacked in terms of the top talent. I feel like every year there's so much depth because there's just so many good players and there's not enough spots between, the rosters are so competitive. I think top to bottom, I think Brennan and Connor, those two at the top, Connor and Brennan are the two that not every year you don't have a generational player. You have maybe the Tuaraton winner or the best player. Honestly, I think Brennan, if Brennan was gone, Shelly would be talked about as the generation,
definitely.
and vice versa. I think
Yeah.
you have literally legit two generational top prospects at the top.
2003 NBA draft. This is what it is. This is a LeBron draft. You're looking back at this and you're like, wow, generational talent.
Yeah.
Can we
There's
talk about too?
7 Hall of Famers.
Them
in this.
comparing Kavanaugh to JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, this
Yeah.
We got to talk to the PLO staff behind the scenes there.
I don't know if that was Paul. I don't know if that was someone behind the scenes. I was irrationally angry.
I saw the
Dudes,
comments
two
and it was
zeros.
one will be, well, McCarthy's obviously a bust and one's other, so bad comparison. That's I was like,
I love that. Well, that wraps up the PLO draft. We have the one and only number 2 overall pick, Connor Shellenberger, coming on with us here in a second for an interview. Stay tuned. Wanted to take a second and plug the Lacrosse Network shop. That's right, TLN's got merch. You might have seen the scripted hat on Paul Rabel's head courtside or at a field near you. The Collegiate Collection has just dropped. UVA, Syracuse, North Carolina, Duke, Maryland, a bunch of schools on the website now. Go to the site, type in MPLS for 10% off your order. Shop.thelacrossenetwork.com, baby. We got the number 2 overall pick, Connor Shellenberger, on live. Let's clap it up for the fella real quick. Connor, how we doing down south in Charlottesville, baby?
Doing well. Appreciate you guys having me on. Looking forward to it. How are you guys doing?
Great. We're doing great. I think we dive right in here. Initial thoughts on the new squad, the New York Atlas.
I'm pumped, to be honest. I thought it worked out perfectly. Coach Pressler sounds like an amazing coach. Coach Cassis down at UVA is really close with him and says the world about him. And then it's pretty cool to get to play with Andrew again. And I'm pumped to meet all the new guys.
Absolutely. In your career, obviously, we've been kind of hand in hand in the same recruiting class. I've obviously watched you grow up. Charlottesville, Bullis, Stab, and then obviously your career at UVA. How excited were you when you got picked number 2 overall?
I was definitely pretty excited. It's I guess it's one of those things now that's cool because kids have it to look forward to and kind of dream about. So it was pretty crazy and pretty surreal. It's not something that I had never really thought about too much, but just for it to happen and see the broadcast on ESPN and all that stuff, it's pretty cool to be a part of.
Obviously, a new member of the Atlas, Connor Shellenberger. Who are you most excited to play with on that Atlas squad?
I think the obvious answer would probably be Xander, just because of the chemistry that
Slim
we've had in
Reaper
the past. But
and Shelly. I'm excited to see
Slim
that. We
Reaper.
might need to get some merch out of that. Slim Reap and Shelly.
might have to. But I mean, the other answer would probably be 𝐓𝐇𝐄, just obviously maybe the best player in the world, and being able to learn from him and hopefully just be able to build chemistry with him is going to be pretty cool.
Obviously, let's hop into the college game. No shade here, but obviously, UVA loses 4 straight. What's kind of the mindset going into the tournament with your guys' rank?
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about the tournament is it's kind of a fresh slate. Winning streaks don't matter at this point. Losing streaks don't matter. You just got to win the next game in front of you and earn more time together. So in that sense, it's kind of refreshing for our team. And I think the thing we've been thinking about this week is, less talk and more action. So we've had a pretty intense week of practice so far. Guys have been getting after it. You see a real change in mindset and demeanor. So it's been a good start so far, and now we just got to go do it on Saturday.
My personal opinion, UVA is one of the best teams to really turn it up in May. We've obviously seen that in years past. Your freshman year, obviously winning it. What are the key takeaways for UVA in particular to really get it done here in May?
Yeah, I think it's just falling back on, kind of the process and the mindset that we've had in the past when it comes to May. We've almost had like a delusional confidence in the past that was started with that class that graduated last year. I remember my freshman year, we got to May and all the guys were like, we don't lose at this point in the season. And I kind of had no idea what they were talking about. And then I showed up to practice that Tuesday and you could almost like feel it. There's just like a different urgency, different way about practice and different confidence, I guess, as well. So, just falling back on that and, hopefully that will get the job done.
Obviously, your UVA career is going to come to an end. What do you want to be remembered at down there in Charlottesville? Not only with the guys, but just as an athlete around campus.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the cliche things, like you want to be known as a great teammate, great person, someone who, made everyone else better and, elevated everyone around you, like respected everyone. But I mean, honestly, I think if you ask any of the guys that won't be back next year, like, the thing on the forefront of all of our minds is leaving with the championship. So that's kind of what you want to be remembered for, in this last month here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shelly, congrats, brother, again on going number 2. Obviously, we've all seen it. Everyone wants to know, what's the deal with Lars' stick pregame? Everyone sees it around. You see it on Twitter. Me and Mitch, we played you guys down in Florida last year. I remember we were walking to the field on the Friday practice, and I'm going to the bathroom, and Lars holds the door for me, and he has the wooden stick in his hand. He's like, have a good day, man.
Give us the background on the
Great,
stick.
nice guy. Give us the background on the stick.
Yeah, so the background's actually kind of sad. Like his dad passed away, and I'm pretty sure he got gifted the stick, so it's kind of a spiritual thing with his dad. But the stick itself has become kind of a legend. And
I love that.
like you said, like I always wondered what other teams thought when they look over and they see Coach Tiffany shooting, 50-mile-per-hour high bouncers with it right into the ground. So, or sometimes he's running around with that thing at practice and getting after guys. So I'm like running the opposite way or trying to hit the locker room. But
I love that. Lars with the wooden stick. That's elite.
Yo, Shelly, congrats, my man.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. Big UVA tradition to streak the lawn. Have you streaked the lawn yet or no?
That's funny. I actually haven't, to be honest.
Come on.
That's when the tournament didn't do it.
Yeah, we got a couple more days left. So, I mean, we kind of want to see it.
I was going to say, you'd think for being here for 5 years, I would have done it by now. But maybe on whatever it is, May 28th, that'd be a good time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shelly, congrats, brother. I got to ask you one thing. For this run, if you could add one teammate from the past, like any UVA teammate from the past, who would you add to this year's team for this run?
Oh, gosh, that's a really good question.
Thanks.
I mean, it's weird because, like, personally, I would want someone like Xander just because I had so much fun playing with him. And, like, again, the chemistry was so fun and everything like that. But then, like, I guess if you're talking for this year's team, maybe be a little different because we have McCabe and we have Jack Boyd. And so, like, they're able to kind of fill that role a little bit. I don't know. I just think about some of the guys that have been there and done it, like 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Jared Connors. Like, again, going back to that delusional confidence in May that we have,
Right.
I remember those guys just kind of embodying it and having that, like, swagger that they literally just, like, willed us to wins in May. And whether it was stats or whatever, it was just, like, a mindset and you could, like, feel it. So maybe I'll go with one of those guys, Jared Connors or 𝐓𝐇𝐄.
For what it's worth, if I was answering that, I was going to say Docs. So, like, I like that answer. And then my last question for you is, hypothetically, if you could play one more year of college lacrosse, but you can't go back to UVA, what school are you going to?
I like that.
That's
No buzzwords
Thanks.
here.
Yeah.
No buzzwords.
I'm
here.
like
We
the
need
Larry.
an actual answer.
I'm the Larry King of this podcast right now.
I mean, I honestly have no idea. Like, again, it's weird, like, not saying UVA, but, like, my dad was always a Penn State fan, so it'd be kind of cool to
Whoa.
maybe go to
I
a
wasn't
Penn State
expecting
game or
that.
something like that.
I like that.
Could have been
But-
Brennan and Shelly
but-
on Penn State.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, UVA football's had
Yeah.
some down years. Go to Penn State, like maybe
Yeah.
like with the 12-team playoff, make a playoff game. So like, yeah,
I
Big
like
Ten
that. I
football,
like
yeah.
that. And before we let you go, I got to have a little insider question here. What's the situation at goalie? Can you give us any tip? What are we doing there with Nunes, with Morris? Has there been a decision made?
I don't think there's been a decision, to be honest. It's one of those things. Like, it sounds like I'm giving you guys the cliche answer, but I think if you ask anyone on our team and our coaching staff, like, we truly believe Matt Nunes is one of the best goalies in the country, if not the best at some points this year. And like, if you would have asked me this question a month ago, I honestly would have told you that, I full-heartedly believe that he was playing better than anybody in the country. So, he's one of those guys that all he needs is one hot quarter or, one good practice, and he's going to be back. And we have so much confidence in him. So, Kyle will obviously be there and if needed, but we honestly have so much confidence in Nunes, and, he's about to get hot at the right part of the year.
I got one more for you. Sorry about this. Going off goalie play. Obviously, one of the people that you faced a lot in your career, Liam Entenmann, is now your teammate. How happy are you not to face him in the PLL and that he's on your side?
You have no idea. I got the firsthand experience on Friday. Like, I looked up with like 8 minutes left, and I felt like I had a couple good shots, and I had like 0 points with 8 minutes left against Notre Dame, and I'm like, Entenmann has literally made every save on me. So, yeah, it'll be nice. He makes it so hard, and obviously the defense in front of him is always amazing, but he allows them to do some things that just other defenses can't do. So yeah, he's legit, and it'll be fun to play with.
I love that. Well, Connor, thanks again for hopping on. We really appreciate it. Again, second overall in the draft. Congratulations. We'll obviously be staying tuned for the rest of the college career.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, brother.
Good luck,
We gotta
Connor.
get Dukes back
Good luck, Shelly.
in the UVA section.
Oh, yeah, I will. If you guys are in the championship, I'll just be wearing the jersey.
Yes. Yep.
I say that was a good luck charm in 21.
Big shout out to Shelly for hopping on the interview. Excited to watch the rest of his career. But now I'd be remiss to not bring up the tragedy passing of Callum Robinson. The PLL family and the entire lacrosse world are heartbroken by the tragic loss of Callum Robinson, his brother Jake Robinson, and Jack Carter Road. During these unimaginable, difficult times, we offer our hearts and support and prayers to the Robinson and Road families, as we love Callum, Jake, and Jack. From the moment he joined the PLL and the Atlas Lacrosse Club, Callum brought an incredible spirit, huge smile to the game, and emphasis on and off the field. The PLL will honor Callum memory all season long, and obviously the GoFundMe link is now live. They've raised over $250,000. Let's try to double that. And give the rest to his family and obviously that tragic passing. But let's keep this going into Pick'ems. NCAA Tournament Pick'ems Challenge is here. How are we feeling? Initial thoughts?
I'm feeling better than you guys.
No,
That's what I know.
I'm
I know
winning
Dukes
that.
is so confident right now. He's
Dukes
like,
is
I've
gonna
been doing
be-
this for years. Like, no way.
Miles is gonna be at the bottom. I'll call that.
Yeah.
I'm not even-
That's a no-brainer.
That's like a
That's
Babe Ruth.
no-brainer.
That's like Babe Ruth calling a shot confident.
Yeah.
That's how confident.
Also, hard launching on Miles with the hats. What do we think, Miles? Initial hat?
TLN script hats, all black. I saw Kark wearing this one.
Kark, the Italian. He had the
we're trying to
Italian
get
horn
Miles
out,
into
too.
the hat game.
If we got to get Kark, we got to get Kark in this pool.
we
Yeah,
do.
we got to get Kark here going. But weekly, we're going to hop in and have our pick'ems, and you guys can get involved too. Download the PLL app today, hop on to the TLN page, and have yourselves a pick'em route. Weekly, make picks. Obviously, this week we're going to make our 8, next week's 4, 2, then 1. And if you win the pick'ems challenge, you will win a huge STX, TLN, and PLL bundle. Prizes are on the screen right now. But let's make our picks. What are we initially thinking off the first week of the tournament?
We rolling through it. One through.
First hot take,
Yeah.
Notre Dame's going to win their game. I think, yeah.
All right, let's run through Dukes, ending with myself, your picks for this week. And again, the loser of the pick'ems for us cast is going to be decided by you guys. So comment below what you want the punishment to be for the loser. Maybe some shaved heads, maybe some hot wings, whatever you guys want. The top comment that wins is going to be what the loser does. Dukes, take us away.
I'm going to go 1 through 8. Is that cool?
Yeah, yep.
I got Notre Dame.
Yep.
I got Duke smacking Utah. I got Hopkins winning that one. It's getting a little wild. Let's go Towson beating Syracuse. I like Michigan beating Denver. I like UVA beating Joe's. I like Maryland beating Princeton. And I like Penn State beating Georgetown.
All right. Notre Dame is going to win. Duke is going to win. Hopkins is going to win. The Syracuse-Towson game is so tough. I'm going to take Syracuse.
Wow,
I'm going to take Syracuse.
He's a young buck. We knew he was going to make that pick.
I'm going to take Syracuse. I'm going to take Michigan over Denver. I'm going to take UVA over St. Joe's, but it's a 1-goal game. Princeton's going to beat Maryland, and then Penn State over Georgetown. Penn State over Georgetown.
Wow.
All right, so I got obviously Notre Dame winning, whoever wins that first round playing game.
Yep, could have
I'm
been.
going to take Duke
Manhattan.
over Utah. Yeah, could have been us. You reminded me, Mitch. Hopkins over Lehigh. I really, really want to take Towson, but like I don't want to be the guy. I feel like everyone, it's like March Madness every year. Everyone's like, take Drake
there's
over
this
Duke.
upset. Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the upset, and then it just like doesn't happen.
yeah.
So I'm taking Syracuse over Towson. I'm going against you too. I'm taking Denver over Michigan in the first round.
Okay.
I'm going to take UVA over Joe's, Maryland over Princeton, and then Penn State over Georgetown.
Okay, I hate to be that guy, but I literally have the same picks as Hogan. All those. Notre Dame, Duke, Hopkins, Cuse, Denver, UVA, Maryland, Penn State.
Can we agree on something? What if I switch? Can I switch between now and Thursday?
No.
No.
After
No.
this show,
It's locked in
you have
once
you
the
have
show.
5 seconds to make your final pick.
All right, let me make my final picks.
Okay.
Because I know I'm bipolar. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going Notre Dame.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going Duke.
Yep.
I'm going Hopkins. I'm going Cuse too. I don't
Wow.
know.
So now he
He got
switches up.
nervous.
Barstool
No,
Squid.
you know what? Screw it. I got some kahunas.
Roll with
I got
Yeah,
some
you do.
kahunas.
Yeah.
Roll with
Garden
Towson.
City Grit.
GCG. Garden
You're
City
sticking
Grit.
with Towson.
Think about how mad you're going to be when Towson wins the game.
Towson is going to steamroll Spoleto.
Towson.
Duke's is Towson's biggest fan now.
Michigan, they're going to be dancing on Mitch and Hoagie's grave. UVA, I'm going Princeton.
Really?
Wow.
Weirdly.
My only thing is I don't know 𝐓𝐇𝐄, and he's like the leading
Dude,
scorer.
you were stuck on Maryland like an hour ago. You were like,
I know.
Yeah, I just
It's
think
all
the
good.
hate. I think the hate's crazy, but 𝐓𝐇𝐄 did just get hurt.
Yeah.
So he's the lead. He's the best player in my opinion on the team. And then I'm going Penn State. I think they're Final Four good.
I like
All
Penn
right.
State too.
All right, so the picks are in, and obviously week by week we'll come in and make more picks. But again, the loser is going to have the punishment that you guys decide. Comment below. The top comment will be the punishment for the loser. And that wraps up episode number 1. Let's clap it up here on the show.
let's go.
This show is going to be super exciting. You can expect this show weekly on the Lacrosse Network YouTube channel and anywhere you listen to podcasts. I think a segment I'm looking forward to most next week is Mitch's Mailbox, where you guys can call this number, 646-820-6251. Leave a voicemail, leave a wild take, leave a Dukes-like take, and that'll get aired on the next episode, and we will react to it. And I think we have Professor Dukes to end us off with a fun fact.
Fun fact of the day. You guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
Joe Bruschi is 10-24 in ACC play since winning a national championship.
In 2016.
Wow.
Wow. That's a fact.
So Duke's.
That's embarrassing.
Fire Bresci?
Fire Bruschi to the sky.
I like
It's
that. Clap it
insane
up.
that-
Episode 1. We will see you guys next week.